Okay, let's review. In this chapter, we reveal the true power of the Tengetsu. We see Ichika finally overcome her past trauma, and we see Asta, who has now mastered his version of Zen, slay the five-headed dragon. In this chapter, we have basically finished off everything that needs to be done in this country, which tells me that essentially this chapter marks the end of the Land of Sun arc, giving maybe 2, 3, maybe even 4 chapters epilogue. Which, now that I think about it, is actually very sad because that means essentially in the next few chapters, with the exception of Ichika and maybe a few other characters, we are going to be saying goodbye for possibly the final time to all these brand new characters we've been firstly introduced to and have all kind of fallen in love with. That means no more Ryu, no more Fuji, and unfortunately the most heartbreaking, no more Kazukaku. And I think I'm going to take this moment for the first time ever to address Tabata directly. Please, Tabata-sensei, if you are going to let any characters from the Ryuzen 7 join Ichika and go into the Clover Kingdom with Asta, please let Kazukaku be one of them. But anyway, now that we are essentially ending the Land of Sun arc, that means we can start looking towards the future of what's going to be coming in the next arc of this final saga. But before that, let's talk about the Tengetsu, because we get revealed to what it looks like in this chapter when Ryu lifts up his eye patch in a very suave-like fashion, revealing that the Tengetsu underneath is basically just a normal looking eye with a bunch of Magatamas attached to it. Now, getting into the way it works, we find out that when Ryu activates the Tengetsu, the Magatamas attached to his eyes actually shoot out in a circle-like fashion in a similar way to the arrays from the Heart Kingdom. And just like it's advertised, the Tengetsu lets Ryu see everything that is going on all at once in the current moment, which means that when he looks at the five-headed dragon, he gets to see exactly what its true weakness is. And what that weakness is that all five heads need to be cut off all at once, otherwise the dragon will just keep regenerating over and over. So, using a combination of his Tengetsu and Fuji's Sound Yojutsu, Ryu coordinates all the five members of the Region 7 who are currently on the battlefield in order to distract the decks of the dragon in order to line them up perfectly for Asta to kill them off with one clean slash. And despite everyone's heavy injuries, the plan pretty much goes off without a hitch, except for when it comes to Jozo. His injuries are way too deep for him to complete his part of the mission and align the neck in the exact spot that it needs to be for Asta to cut it off, but lucky enough for him, this is when Ichika finally steps back up and actually manages to get the neck in the right position in order for Asta to lay in his final attack. And with that final Zen slash, Asta slays the five-headed dragon of legend, finally saving the Land of Sun from its corruption. Which now has me wondering, does this mean that the black sea that surrounds the part of the Land of Sun where the dragon was sealed will be returned back to a normal sea, or is it just too corrupted now to basically be returned to normal? Either way, with the dragon slayed and Asa mastering his version of Zen, that means we have essentially done everything that needs to be done in the Land of Sun. So that means that now that this arc is finally reaching its end, Tabata can start introducing the ideas of what's going to be happening in the next arc in this final saga. And I don't know about you guys personally, but I'm actually kind of hoping that even if it's only for a few chapters, maybe even 5 at the most, that we take a quick break and actually head back over into the Clover Kingdom and check in with a few of the characters that we left behind there. Because now that we are done with essentially what was Asa's training arc, it's time for us to check in with some of the other characters who are going to be having major battles during this final saga and start to introduce exactly how they plan on getting to the power that they need in order to take on any of the paladins that Lucius will throw at them. Okay, so full disclosure, I had actually for a split second forgot about Mario Iona and her brand new Hellfire Incarnate mode, which while not able to do much damage to him, was able to make her survive multiple hits from a 50% powered up Lucifero. And considering that that ability has the added bonus that the longer she fights in it, the stronger she becomes, as long as she can overcome the defect of her body turning into pure mana if she fights in it for too long, then I think she's already sitting in a good spot when it comes to taking on any of the paladins. But when it comes to any of the other captains, we definitely need a moment that's going to introduce a hint of an idea of exactly how they're going to gain brand new powers in order to take on this brand new threat. And if I'm being honest, even Yami falls into this category, because even though his dark magic is pretty much on the almost same level of hacks that the anti-magic that Asta has is, he still, I don't think, is strong enough to take on any of the paladins, let alone to go toe-to-toe with Lucius. But I already had a video going over exactly how I think Yami is going to be getting a major power-up in the saga, so if you haven't seen it, go check it out. And then, of course, there's all the lower ranked characters. You know, characters like Luck and Leo, who have gotten to the levels of being able to take down a mid-rank devil by themselves, but even at that power level, I don't think they'll be able to stand a chance against any of the paladins. So they're definitely going to need a major boost in power when it comes to this final saga. And of course, at the very top of the list for the lower ranked characters is obviously Yuno and Noel. And while the other characters are most likely going to end up getting fights in the saga, we know for certain that those two characters definitely will. And even though it's already been revealed that Yuno has gotten so strong that he can single-handedly take down a whole horde of high-ranking devils, I still think he's going to have to get a lot stronger if he ever hopes to take down Lucius Zogratis.